You know, a lot of my friends do mostly PC gaming nowadays. More so than on console, it seems. And me, I've always been a console guy. But I hear a lot from them now about, all sorts of cool things that they're seeing from PC developers. Especially the indie ones. There's all sorts of really cool early access stuff and things going on Kickstarter. And hear a lot about Steam. All this early access stuff on Steam. And all these developers that you've never heard of before. I've never really experimented with the PC game space all that much. I've always been a console person, but lately I haven't really been that satisfied with what I've been getting on the console, so I thought I'd check out what Steam has to offer. Let's see, what do we have? Dinner date? What the hell is dinner date? Become the subconscious of Julian Luxembourg? Julian Luxembourg has prepared a dinner for two at his place, but things go awry when the date does not show up and he is left waiting at his dinner table. The clock's ticking, growing unbearably loud. Dinner date is the character portrayal of... Oh my god, what is this? Oh jeez. Mixed, huh? I said I would give indies a shot. Let's check it out. In Dinner Date, you do not play as yourself, nor do you play as the main character. In Dinner Date, you play as the subconsciousness of Julian Luxembourg. Press G to take control of his hand. Really weird. You control of his motorics of Julian. So I guess G wiggles his fingers. E, R, I guess this is an example of how you control him in the game, but I wonder, I don't know what, will I be picking stuff up? Is it like a puzzle game? Okay, I get it. You're wiggling your fingers, buddy. Let's move on.
Talking. That is how the Japanese call a clock. I'm quite sure she's
Fading into a room.
It's a curious thing to do. Most foreigners just teach her how to count.
G.
Shit, she is late.
And Q, which I guess if I press that, he looks back at the clock.
It's gone 7 o'clock. Definitely left the
Yep,
office
he's looking
now.
back at the clock.
I shouldn't have left her.
G, I guess, goes back to looking at the door.
Damn fine.
Man, this guy is real nervous. Just like a neurotic basket case. H looks at his hand.
I need to start focusing
This
on
is
work.
really sad already.
I really need
It's
to
just
get-
some
it's
guy
good.
sitting
And Jerry's
alone
going to be
sadly
angry
at his
if I mess it up
apartment,
too, the way he arranged it.
glancing frantically between the door and the clock,
Those guys always get me into situations.
while rambling to himself
Probably
about the girl that's standing
Marilyn
him
gets
up.
started at 7. Would they? Might be doing shots over at Monty's. Nah, Monty. It's quite right to use it as a pseudonym.
Oh boy, this isn't the entire game, is it?
No. It's getting quite late to show up. Nobody would show up this late on meetings. 10 minutes. Might have just missed a bus, of course.
Jeez.
Lovely
Fidget with your
Michael.
hand a little
Pretty
more.
eyes.
Just
Very
sit
elegant.
there at a table waiting,
The
look at your
Japanese always
clock.
know how
Why
to
is he
dress
sitting
that
at the
to give
table? It's not like he's at a restaurant. He's
Shit,
at his
you should
house,
have
right?
done.
So like he can probably chill on the
10
couch or
minutes.
something. He's really making this sadder for himself by just sitting there.
I'm getting quite hungry. Did I eat lunch? Can't remember.
Oh,
what I
man.
had for lunch. I was doing that report. Not that Marianne will read that until Friday. Just good to have done still.
So a lot of these keyboard shortcuts, I don't
Shit.
know if pressing them actually
This
has
was the only
any
chance
sort
I
of
had as
bearing
well.
on
Never meeting
the
people
things
like
that he's saying.
Jerry was right. I should be happy at least he is looking out for my sex life. Which is a bit...
At least I could make him stretch.
Okay, I have to call my nose. I'd better just take a sip of wine. Yeah, go on then. It'll stop me from thinking so much.
In this game, when they say that you play the subconscious of Julian Luxembourg, they're pretty goddamn serious about it. You get all these keyboard shortcuts, Q to look at the clock, and G to look at the hall, and F to fidget with your left hand, and, when you press those keys, those are exactly what you do, but I think that's it. You don't really have any control over the narration. I don't think you do. That's not what I observe. He just kind of rambles on and on sadly about his love life. And I guess all the control you have in this is...
Odd. I'll just pretend I didn't when the door rings. Should be time enough. I'll just go, just a minute.
being neurotic?
Just a minute.
Oh boy. What is going on with this? Why did they make this thing? There's got to be more to it than it. I'm obviously not real versed in dinner date. I'm sure there's some community that's, they've got message boards and they're talking about beating it at, they're doing speed runs or something. I don't like where this is going now. Oh, geez, there's bread on the table now. I guess I'm gonna sit here and eat alone.
Dancing with the guys.
I'll just put it on my plate, look around suspiciously.
Yeah, Jerry is always right.
Gee, I wonder why this guy was stood up.
I need to focus my talents, seek my inner self.
Pick my bread back up. Can I dip it in that thing? Yes, I can. Dip my bread in whatever that is.
Well, he doesn't just fire Marianne.
Can I eat it in? There I go. I'm eating bread, people. Welcome to the next generation of gaming. Oh, I'm gonna dip it again. Ah, you double-dipping motherfucker. Well, don't let her know that you did that if she shows up. Nobody likes a double-dipper.
Probably too late to go riding.
Oh, jeez, don't tell me. He's sitting in front of a bowl of soup now.
She's probably just dancing.
This is just getting pathetic.
It's almost 8.
Press R to spoon your soup sadly. Press N to eat your soup. So now this is what it's come to. I'm just a man sitting alone in his apartment eating soup by himself.
That is rather good. I go to a restaurant on the way back.
Oh, man.
Italian. Take a book with me.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any lower.
And I'll be sitting there alone, reading a book.
I don't see the soup reducing. Hey, I could stir it.
The Michael dancing, that was rather nice.
Oh, well, at least I can stir it.
How do I always get along with this guy? They always call me. She probably tried to reach me. Or they would.
This is way too close to home for me right now. Eating soup alone? I just did that like 30 minutes ago.
Donald doesn't really cut it. He's successful, makes me successful, or so I think. But he's not really fun. Yeah, I'm just pumping myself up here. The soup might be nice, and I have a bike, a paycheck that'll soon buy me a way out of this house. I'm not too bad looking. I don't really use it that much. Biking and reading doesn't really get you into touch with the other sex. They are right, really. I should just go out with them, instead of quoting Byron to myself. Get a few drinks down, dance with someone, pull a girl, pull a chick.
Pull a chick.
Pull a chick.
Not a girl, a chick. He corrected himself from that. This guy is like a character from a Charles Dickens play, who somehow fell into like a wormhole and ended up in our time. Now he has to stumble around awkwardly trying to find a mate for himself. I mean, look at him. Look at the setting and the surroundings. Everything about it just seems so antiquated, especially the way that he talks. I mean, yeah, I know, London, some guy from London or whatever, or wherever this was made. This was made by Stout Games, which I guess is a Dutch place. And Stout Games is basically just one guy from everything I've read about it. And that one guy, who is the programmer designer, also happens to be the voice actor for this character. Oh, too bad it's not about time travel. That would actually make something, pretty cool. If there's some guy who got sucked into a wormhole and you have to figure out all these little different mechanisms with which to get yourself back into your current time. But now I'm thinking about, a real game, something that is a lot more interesting, or rather, I should say, interesting, period.
Not Jerry, I think. She might think the same, but...
Jesus Christ.
God knows the Japanese can't hold their liquor.
Well, he's up from the table now, so that's a good start.
God knows I'm not meeting anyone biking or sitting in the office. Yeah, Marianne. She's quite good looking. Check worthy, I suppose. Just...
And some new options have popped up. Let's see. Oh, he's got to start chain smoking, huh?
The darker
because this wasn't sad enough.
Isn't it? I can never remember this poem. Damn! I can't stand she didn't show up. So
Oh man, this guy is like neck deep in the fucking Arthur Miller play or something. He is having a serious crisis here.
It's not about her. It is about me. I've been this way for years now. I was 27 and still.
What is that option there? Oh, he looks out the window while he's having his existential crisis.
Very smooth.
Glances at that dinosaur comic that I've seen everywhere.
Perhaps I should
Ashes his cigarette.
forget about it. If it's all going to be 20-year-old girls dancing to that.
Oh man, oh man.
And just let the guys go by themselves. Why are they still...
What is going on? Jesus Christ, why am I doing this to myself? I've been stood up on plenty of dates before. Why am I doing this in a fucking game now?
I never get to read my poetry with all the going out.
Oh lord, is he gonna start reading poetry now?
Advance my
Oh
career.
jeez, where are my new options at?
At least with
Press
them.
G to pull revolver out of drawer. Press G to put revolver in mouth. Press Q to pull trigger. I feel like that's the only real options this game is missing at this point. But you know what? What you see is pretty much what you get. There's really nothing else in this game,
Perhaps.
if you can really
Should
call it
be
a
there.
game. I'm gonna go ahead and do us both a favor and put this thing out of its misery.
Deceased and turned upon a pillow.
So that was it, huh? That was the whole game. 4 of my hard-earned dollars. 20 minutes of my, well, let's face it, my time's pretty cheap, but still, 4 of my hard-earned dollars. But is it really that bad of a game? Well, honestly, I'm not really certain I could call it a game. I mean, you're not really competing against anything, there are no real goals, there's no winning or losing, and there's not a high score or anything to beat. You know, I mean, there really isn't anything beyond just existing. You know, to be perfectly honest, you know, I'm not even really sure any of the keyboard inputs it was giving me had an effect on the narration. Maybe if I play through it again and not press anything, maybe something different will happen. Maybe I'll get less drunk? I don't know. I really can't say. In the end, you know, all I could really say is that I'm not really good or bad as a game, because it's not really a game. It's an interactive experience. It's like, kind of like watching a movie. Actually, it's exactly like watching a movie. You know, it's kind of interesting, you know, the idea of being able to control somebody's, you know, to control their subconscious and all the little ticky things that goes on in the back of someone's head that they may or may not have complete control or even awareness of. That's kind of neat. But, you know, in the context of how it's portrayed here, it's a little obnoxious. It's just this guy that's bitching about being stood up, and then he goes real hard in on Japanese people, which is a little strange. I don't really know. It's not exactly. I mean, I will give it this though. To be perfectly honest with you, you know, it is pretty well put together. I mean, it's obviously not a graphical powerhouse. I don't know what kind of graphical performance you would be expecting from a game like this, but you know, the voice acting is not that bad. It's pretty decent for the most part. The dialogue's not bad too. I mean, I've certainly heard worse writing in games. You know, it's just, I guess it's just not for me what the subject matter is, you know? Which is really sad because, like I said, the core concept as an interactive experience and not a game could be really cool. Maybe if they took this idea and expounded upon it in maybe a different area, you know, of life and of the human experience. You know, like, for example, maybe if they put you in the role of, say, a black person in America, you know, who's just walking down the street and then is suddenly accosted by a cop, you know, and then all of a sudden, all of these little keyboard shortcuts start popping up, and you have to hit the keyboard shortcuts in a way that will best get you out of the situation without being, you know, shot to death, or at the very least, brutally beaten with a flashlight, you know. I mean, I could see how that could be a much more engaging and interesting experience, especially for people who, you know, will never have to worry about going through that sort of thing, but, it's a topical matter, it's a topical situation. I think it would be way more interesting than some dude bitching about being stood up. We've all been there, you know, but at the same time, I have no idea how that other situation will play out. But I will say this, if that keyboard shortcut comes up telling you to press Q to run for it, don't do it.